Now, you may find yourself in a phase of your awakening where everything is breaking down and nothing really fits anymore. Your relationships, you might be questioning in a very obsessive way, potentially in your mind. You might be questioning your career, or your career may be breaking down, or it just feel like that. And you might be questioning if you're going crazy. Now, if you misread this phase of the path, you're going to stay stuck in confusion, thinking that you're losing control and that God hates you. So this video is going to break down exactly what's happening in the destruction or the death phase of your awakening journey, so that you can stop second guessing yourself and the path and really begin to understand the process and alleviate that fear that's no doubt within you. So there are three phases, or three forces, I would say, of life. And they are birth, sustenance or sustaining, and then death. These are the three forces. It's not just of an awakening, it's just their nature's ways, aren't they? You can see it through the seasons. In spring, new life is being born. Just look at nature. In summer, they are sustained and beautified and radiant. And then come autumn, they begin to die, don't they? And then through the winter, they're preparing themselves to be reborn. Life is cyclical like this. And so's our awakening path. Now, if you're watching this video, you're likely finding yourself in this phase right here, isn't it? The death phase. This is where you have a feeling that nothing's really working out for you. You might have had a long time doing something, a certain career, a job, a relationship that was sustained for a period of time. And the reason that it was sustained for a certain period of time is because it was benefiting your evolution. But of course, sometimes when it comes to relationships, we outgrow them. Why? Because we grow, isn't it? And maybe we mature a lot faster than the partner, or perhaps we're just on different paths and life starts taking us in different directions. Nobody's wrong. Okay, and that's really important to remember. You're not better than or worse than if this is how this is happening. It's just life is a giving and a growing force, and that's nature's way. And so part of growth is also death, isn't it? Is part of losing aspects of ourselves that really are no longer working for our path. And each path is unique. So it's beautiful if you can find somebody, a relationship or a career that lasts a lifetime, but the likelihood of that happening is fairly low, because you can think to yourself, oh yeah, I'm in this career, I'm going to do this for the rest of our life. But God has a funny way, doesn't he? What's the joke? If you want to make God laugh, tell him how you think your life will go. And that's fairly accurate, I would say. But as we're coming into this death phase here, let's say a relationship is beginning to break down, or you're starting to see through the relationship or the reasons why you were brought together, and there's nothing else underpinning it apart from that karmic attachment or that karmic alignment that you had before, then this phase can be awfully scary, because we might have put all of our identity into that relationship, into that career. Now, life wants to set you free. You have to remember, that's its ultimate goal, is freedom, is liberation of your soul. Now, you can have that and you can achieve that, but only if you go through this phase consciously, because there is a big difference, isn't there, between change and almost didn't fit it on. There is a big difference between change and transformation. We know in nature, one of the eternal laws of nature is that it is constantly in change, isn't it? But just ask yourself, does change automatically mean that transformation will occur? The answer is no. For change to create transformation, we have to become active co-participants in that change. Now, change can be very abrupt, can't it? It can feel very destructive in nature, especially if we weren't ready for it and it shakes us to our core. And most of the time, for a lot of change, we aren't ready for it. We might have been fairly happy, kind of, with the way that things were going, but underneath, deep down, something else has been calling you, if you've been really honest with yourself. And that's what begins the next phase, and that's that destruction phase. The question is, am I going to go along with it and create powerful transformation, or will it just be change? So you might be wondering, well, okay, I am going through a period of deep change. The awakening has become I've entered a destructive phase of this journey, and it's causing me a lot of pain. And that pain is coming because we're losing or at least an aspect of our identity, isn't it? And identities are so tough to lose because I don't know if you remember when you were a child. I certainly do. In the US, you call it a pacifier. In the UK, you'd call it a dummy. It's basically just this comforter for a child, right? You put it in your mouth, you suck on it. And I remember my parents coming to me. I must have been 3, I guess. I don't know, very young. And they said, okay, Jamie, we can see that you're attached to this dummy, this pacifier. It's time to give it up because you've outgrown it. And as you get older, you can't keep doing child things. And it caused such a deep pain. They asked me to throw it down the toilet. No, I'm not saying that is the healthiest and best way to remove a pacifier or a dummy because it's full of plastic. But this was the 90s. We didn't understand things like that then. So I had to throw it down the toilet. And for some reason, I remember this deep trauma, this deep wounding inside. It was an overwhelming pain that I just didn't have the ability to be able to process or understand why until later on. And it's because it's not really necessarily about the thing in itself that you're losing, is it? It's about the identity that goes along with it. And that identity, for me at that time, young though I was, would have been comfort. So we're leaving the safety net. We're losing the comfort part of our identity that we were in control of with the pacifier, for example. Now we have to let go of that and find comfort or ease in something deeper, don't we? That's how we grow. But identities are even closer to us than the things themselves. And so this is why they cause so much pain when we lose them, because they're enmeshed. They're our first attachment, aren't they? They're so close to us. And so it feels like we're losing part of ourself, that part of ourself is dying. And in a way, that's kind of true. So you might be asking then, okay, cool. How can I do this? Because change is happening. It's almost being forced upon me potentially. How can I use this for transformation? And this is where I'm going to introduce to you and offer you a piece of technology, a law, and that's the law of release. Now, to understand the law of release, we need to understand something about life. We talked earlier, its intention is for your freedom, is for your liberation. That's a kind intention, isn't it? And so to really be able to understand the law of release and want to do it, we have to understand life's intention. Life is a very giving force. This life is a gift, isn't it? Regardless of what you think in your mind, this life has been given to you. You didn't create it and you didn't have to do anything to earn it. It's an unearned gift. And so life is a giving force and it's kind. Yes, it takes things away, but it's like, well, why is it doing that? If life is a giving force and it's kind and it's giving me these moments fresh and new and I never had to earn them, that's beautiful. That's just so loving. The nature of life is loving. It must be, right? So as it's taking things away, if its intention is love, then can I begin to question, well, what is this death process really about? Was I calling for something deeper up here underneath from my spirit? And has my spirit therefore attracted to me this death experience internally, externally, whatever it is that's going on, so that I may deepen? And if we can begin to understand that love is the nature of these death cycles, then we can allow ourselves to surrender, to release, to relinquish our control into these experiences, can't we? You know, when you go to the gym, you do a certain amount of reps, isn't it? And the muscles get bigger. So you train the muscles through repetition. Well, welcome to my spiritual gym, my spiritual dojo, where in these phases, the way in which we can test our ability to release, to surrender, is by training that let go muscle into life. When things are dying, we try harder and harder to control, don't we? We contract. We're like, no, I don't want this to work. Maybe we work harder at the job or that we feels like we're losing, or maybe we try and override our own internal guidance in a relationship to make it work because we're scared of the pain that the death cycle of this will cause. So the game, if we can, is to train that let go muscle. So the contraction comes, the pain comes, and can I let go of my need to try and change it by working harder, by going over the top of that and trying to find relational safety in the external world? Can I let go into myself, into the spaciousness behind the contraction that's coming up? And if we can do that, we'll start to see why these contractions are coming. And why I'm telling you this is because this is what creates the transformation. Because life loves you, and we can only know life's intention, and we can only really feel and have a communion with life and be really in touch with it, which is what we want. We want to be connected to life. We want to be connected to our creator, isn't it? We can only really do that if I'm able to allow this process to happen, because what we will see, and I guarantee this for you, what you will see is, in hindsight, and it's only in hindsight, that which is dying needed to die so that something could be reborn. Our big fear is that life is abandoning us, isn't it? Our big fear is that we've done something wrong. Our big fear is that we're not good enough, that we're unworthy of love. And it's in this phase that we have to really look at these belief systems, because that's what they are. They're belief systems, or as I like to call them, BS, you see. And those belief systems will drop. They'll begin to fall away. And we'll see in hindsight, only in hindsight, why this process of death needed to happen, and then how much better life becomes afterwards, and what new, fresh, exciting endeavors that will no doubt be more in alignment for you come up. Because life here is only taking away that which is holding you back. And so in this phase here, as we're reborn with a new way, with a new zest for life, all it's doing is bringing you into the highest piece of kit that you can be, the highest instrument that you can be for service, so that you can serve life. And yes, that means it's going to be in alignment with your soul's blueprint, isn't it? Because life made you. You are literally a little spark, aren't you? A little spark of the divine. That's what we are, as my awful spark. You have the source of creation, God, if you want to call it that, higher intelligence, if you want to call it that. You have that within you, and it's birthed you into this reality, into this body. And so you best believe that it knows that it has a plan for you. The only question is, can we get over ourselves? Because ourselves, our separate sense of selves in the mind will go, yeah, I'm here to serve me, my separate sense of self, my agenda. But life and God and creation is saying, no, remember who birthed you. Remember whose intention you were. You see, this separate sense of self, we're not here to serve that. We're here to serve this is intention, because it's that's intention that birthed us. And that's an intelligence that is far greater than our own, isn't it? So, knowing all of this, can we allow ourselves to release, to train that let go muscle, to train that let go into life muscle, so that we can come into our trust, our faith, our ease, our stillness, our dynamic stillness, as life continue these cycles inside of us to make us the highest piece of kit that it can, so that it may serve itself. And I promise you, this version here contains more joy, more love, more excitement, more compassion than the version of you that is dying here. So hopefully that allows you to release that which no longer serves you, instead of flapping around like a wet fish in this section here. Cool. Here's to your wonderful life then. Lots of love.